Do this with someone or with people that almost piss you off a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I love that.
Looking like a baddie, I show up and make them stop. Wanna know my name so badly, cause I run this whole block. Flip my hair, move my head, show the world I'm royalty. Queen, yeah. Move it, groove it. They wanna know just how I do it.
Hey, so welcome back to another episode of Zen and Fire. I'm your co-host, Cynthia Day, and I am here with our other co-host, Miss Shannon Ferris.
Hi,
And
thank you so much. Welcome.
welcome. So together we are both mompreneurs, entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and we just wanted to come to you today because last week was the beginning of a fresh new year, clean slate, a fresh new start to 2024. And we talked about outcomes, not just goals, but outcomes that you want to achieve for your life. And we discussed two separate paths that led you to the same result, which was staying in alignment with those outcomes. And this week is just a nice little follow-up because I think that we got, the soul piece, we got the heart piece, we got the keep your surroundings intentional that would continue to influence you to remain on the right path. And then we also got some very tactical and very strategic and very organized, legitimate ways to remain intact with your alignment, ways to project your goals, weeks, months, and a year ahead. Now, as we're continuing down the journey of this alignment, what does every day look like? Because you're starting new habits, you're starting new patterns, and this requires a new version of you. Because if you were going to remain the same person and try to achieve a different result, then you would quickly remain out of alignment with that new goal, right? Or with that new outcome. And it's a struggle. It can be a big struggle, and you will find yourself white knuckling your way through your alignment. And so this is what I really wanted to talk about, because this is something that as we are evolving, we're evolving from deeper levels of ourselves so that things aren't so hard. But as you are evolving and moving into that identity space so that things are just natural, your habits are natural, and your mindset is natural to keep you on the path, how do you ensure that your resistance does not overpower your will? How do you not give up on yourself? And how do you not say, it's all right. I knew I was going to wake up at 5 a.m. this morning, but if I don't do it now, it's just one day.
Oh, hold on. Stop. You just hit. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. However, you just hit I hate the word trigger, but you just hit like a pain point for me. And I'm going to tell you this right now. One thing. Yeah. So really quick, when we say we're going to wake up at 5 a.m., and in my world, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. because if I give in to 10, 15, 30 minutes of pleasure of sleeping in, of hitting the snooze button, it causes chaos for my whole day, which is 16 plus hours. So the juice is not worth the squeeze.
The juice is not worth the squeeze. Now, unpack that for me. I mean, once you peel it off and expose the truth of this saying right here.
I can give you my point of view. So typically I wake up between 4 and 4:30, and there's a reason for it. There's a lot to be done. As your empire builds, you need to be more disciplined with things. And so I have to wake up between 4 and 4:30, depending on the day, because there are certain things I need to get done. I need to be physically active. I need to do my Bible study. I need to do my preparation for the day. I need to do my gratitude. I want a hot cup of coffee. I then need to wake the kids up. They need to get ready for school. There's also household things that need to be done, and I have to be out the door by a certain time.
So
In
let me
order-
ask you this,
Mhm.
right? Like, what kind of mindset, what do you believe in order to prioritize getting up that early, going through your motions? And I love how you paused a moment and was like, I am going to enjoy a hot cup of coffee, not one that's been sitting there while I've been away tending and putting out fires and assisting other things and people.
Microwaving it 3 times. That's no longer, I deserve better.
You are not human. You are not in real life. This is not.
It's the little things we have to enjoy. So I will tell you, if I hit the snooze button, there is a blast radius to that. Then in theory, I am now anywhere between 10 to 30 minutes behind, which impacts the kids. It impacts the household. The kids are now 10 minutes late. One misses the bus because they're 10 minutes. We're routine, right? One misses the bus. So now I have to go in, wait in the car line, which has now cost me 30 to 40 minutes, but I have to be at the office at a certain time. I have meetings that start at a certain time. So now, do you see how there's a blast radius? Shit rolls downhill. That's the nicest way I can put it. Because I chose to take 10 to 30 minutes of pleasure and sleep in.
So, two things. I have heard this quote that said, the person who hits the snooze button usually works for the person that does not.
Yeah.
And let me ask you another really important question. Why do you prioritize your Bible study, your self-care, your time with self, and everything that you prioritize for you? Why do you feel that it is so important to put you first and to actually wake up that early when the rest of the world wants to roll over?
So
help us understand that.
There are a few Bible quotes that really resonate with me, and I do want to share one of them with one is obviously like, do not take revenge. It resonated. However,
that has not been practiced yet. No,
it has. Otherwise, there would be a lot of people who are in a lot
burned at the stake.
Yeah. But it comes from Hebrews 12:11. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have not been trained by it.
Repeat the last part. What the part that said those who have not been trained by it. What did that say?
And so this is Hebrews 12:11. It says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. So I'm going to unpack it a little bit. So at the time, I don't want to wake up. I would love to sleep in Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday. I would. Let's snuggle up, like all the things. That's amazing, right? But no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Like I work through, I'm like, get up, do what needs to be done. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Meaning, if I'm disciplined and I do what I need to do, I'm going to get the fruits of my labor because I have been disciplined.
Huge.
As I drink my martini.
With
Come on, give me my coffee and my martini.
your disciplined ass.
Mm-hmm. Done a week. It's only Wednesday. But so, I mean, think about that. So the Bible keeps me from doing very impulsive, humanistic, hedonistic things that are not going to produce any value for me. And so there's certain things that I really gravitate towards, and that's one of them. Everything that you do requires discipline.
And what has to burn so hot within you that it fuels your desire to remain disciplined?
Trauma. If I'm being honest, I love a couple of things, to be completely honest. I love proving people wrong. Yeah. Hold on, Dr. Evil. With my cat. Where's my dog? No, I can't.
Right.
I love proving people wrong. And then going back to, I literally have a higher purpose. I have a purpose to stop or contribute to save one soul from human trafficking. So is my 30 minutes of sleeping in worth somebody's life and dignity? No, ma'am. It's not. I lead a very good life that I have built myself, coming from a, fat, poor upbringing. No, I will not humble myself to that.
I absolutely adore this. So while most of us are, I won't say most of us, while some of us are thinking in life, what's in this for me? And I am just talking about an overall philosophy and perception in mind, in which that is just a filter in that particular phase of their life. They're just thinking about everything that they're motivated to do as what's in it for me. And it's not until you get out of that particular perception in life and that particular motivator in life and you start thinking beyond you.
So when I tell you the story, there is always a what's in it for me, but it decreases a little bit. And so I want to tell you about something that happened today. I am very disciplined, and every hour of every day, if somebody cancels a meeting, I look at it depending on what the meeting is, and I will follow up very quickly. But then it gives me time to do extra time for what I need to continue to build the empire or build a relationship. So today I'm building a relationship, and I'm in a meeting with somebody who is very important to me in my world. And all of a sudden I have multiple screens, right? Cynthia, you've seen that. I have like laptop here, screen, so I can see what everything's happening. And for whatever reason, I have my messaging coming up, and I thought there was a natural disaster happening. This was such a minor thing that did not need 5 to 6 people sending me a message about. And it took away from my time with that person who I needed to cultivate and spend time with and build a relationship with. Do you know what I did? I shut the whole application down because it wasn't worth my time and energy in order to do it. Because it was about it was about recruiting. And I'm not saying recruiting is not important, it's very important. But what had happened is I already had worked with this person and they told me no. And I get that because they would have had to take in a demotion and a pay decrease, which for some people they can't afford. Everything's super expensive, right? And so, in order to stay focused on the person, my goal is building my team. I needed to shut it all down. So, no, I wasn't willing to compromise at the time. And a lot of people will feel the need to answer those questions right away, but I didn't. I don't know if that's helpful or not. But it's staying focused to your goals. Like my goal is building my team out. So I'm very slow to hire, quick to fire. But I have very specific goals. And if I don't have the right people in place, how would you feel, Cynthia, if I was having a meeting with you and cultivating you and I'm over here tending to things?
Distracted, not fully present? It would make me feel like I was not important. I was not the priority.
So what would you do with that? And how does that achieve my outcomes?
Right. Like I probably would not continue to work with you. I
Exactly.
would not feel like you have my interest in mind and you were not the person to help me reach the goal.
Yeah. And this person was very important to me. And they're important to me because they were helping me reach my goals. They made me look good. I made them look good. It was a very mutually symbiotic relationship. So the whole point of the story was I had to be disciplined. My initial reaction was like, oh, let me attain to all these other people. No. So staying focused on building out my team so I can build out my empire, so I can do these specific things. It's very small things. And not only that, but you know me, I love data and analytics. It would have taken me roughly 30 minutes to respond back to all of those people on something that was not significant. 30 minutes of time, I could have learned a new skill.
So what I am hearing is to have discernment.
Mhm.
And once again, the people that you have around you, will they help you get to your destination? Is it a win-win? And are you intentional about how you demonstrate value to the people that you discern will help you get there? And that are you choosing partnerships in which you can serve, in which your service is just as valuable? Am I hearing you right?
Yeah. So can I unpack that? I've been on both sides of it. Can I give you the good side and can I give you the bad side?
Let's talk, sister.
So I'll give you the good side. When you cultivate your people, and by the way, they're not all created equal. I'm going to be real honest. I have some superstars and I'm like, come with me. You're amazing. I love the fact that I can hand things off and I don't have to micromanage. And then I have other people and I'm like, do we have, like, what's happening here? Right. So I love that aspect of it. I love to cultivate people, and I would love to work for one of my people one day. Like, I would love to be able in our coaching practice to be able to bring people like, I'm working for you one day. Like, you know who I am. Like, we've done this, right? However, all the people are like, oh, you changed my life and I want to work for you forever. I'm like, no, like, I want to work for you. Like, I'm trying to be in Costa Rica petting a sloth, right? Like, so it's really important. And what's the part 2 of your question?
It was just I didn't really have a question.
About who
You
you
said the
bring
good and the bad of my
Yeah,
summary.
so the bad of it, thank you. The good of it is I love cultivating people. I love bringing them to the next level. Like, there's no ego involved, right? Actually, I find inspiration from people. I recently found out that's a rarity. However, the bad of it is, like, when we're going through this transaction, I was like, who are you to tell me about who I need to hire for my people? Do I ask you who you hire? Just because it fits your convenience, I'm supposed to hire this person? And if you're an entrepreneur, then entrepreneur means within a corporate systems, you need to figure out how to navigate that. And they don't get a say. So initially, right, the fire, I was like, who the fuck are you to question my hires given my results? And now I took a step back. I put them all in a group chat. And when I was done paying attention to my number, like one of my superstars, once I was done, like, you don't get this attention from me. No. Once I was done with giving attention to my superstar, I was like, I put them all in a group chat. I'm like, this is a scenario. Educate yourselves in a like corporate, tone. And then I said, this is what's happening. And I'm going to do what's best. I'm not going to be political about it. I'm going to do what's best for the organization. And I already had these conversations. So it's kind of like I literally did a shit or get off the pot kind of thing. You have to pay for talent. Are you willing to pay for this talent? Because you're up my asshole about it.
Okay. So what are actions that we can take? So I am hearing Bible verses. I am hearing a purpose that is greater than ourselves, a motivation that is bigger than what is just in it for us selfishly alone.
We
And
have to have some kind of what's in it for me, right? Like, I'm going to be real honest. We have to have what's in it for me. But then as you elevate, but you still have to have that. Yes, sorry.
I mean, yeah, because thinking if I lay in bed for 10 more minutes, does that save another human life from tragedy? And human trafficking is not something to sleep on. Okay. That is like a living hell for people.
Yeah.
And so honestly, hearing this is such a passion forward reason to get up and go do what we need to do for the sake of humanity.
Yeah.
So I understand that we now have to find a purpose greater than ourselves. That by sleeping in the bed longer than needed will take away from the quality of life around us.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Ruthless discipline is needed.
Ruthless, pig-headed discipline. I'm hearing that. So let me ask you this. What are some tactical actions. What are some actions that we can take to harness that power to make sure that we just snap right back? Like, how do we get back?
Oh my gosh, I feel like you just put me on a monologue for like several. So I can tell you what I do, and it has served me well, to be completely honest. So, and I want to remind our listeners that I came from like a very poor background, so I don't want people to think, oh, she like. No, I've earned every second, every dime of what I have. In fact, I've had people wipe me out twice, but my mindset was, I did it before, I'll do it again.
And that
Well,
is
one
the
of the
truth.
things,
If you know how to make money, you can make it over and over and over again.
but that's a mindset. Not a lot of people have that, right? This too shall pass. Like, let's go off. Like, learning how to put ego and hubris to the side so I can do what's best. That's for another time. But one of the things I do is like personal prioritization. I look at where I'm spending my time. I'm going to give you a good example. Laundry, right? So we have been told we need to do laundry, another podcast, another time. I can have somebody else. The kids will do their own. I don't care if it's right or not. But for me, I can get somebody for less than $100. It might be a lot of money to some people, but I can get somebody for less than $100 to go off and do my laundry. Whereas for me, I average $1,000 an hour. It's not worth it. But looking at what my priority is for the week and what fits in there and what doesn't. Okay. So, like, hold on. I'm gonna put my glasses on. Okay. I have a book. I keep everything in. I take things from a outcome to a strategic and then a quarterly basis. And then Cynthia was shocked. I'm like, yeah, I have every outcome I want for every single day so I can move forward, right? But then I also put in me time for these very specific things. And I'm a little rigid on that. I'm not a lot rigid on them because I need them. So I do a quarterly review. Did I achieve these outcomes? Why or why not? Was it within my sphere of influence? If it was, is it a priority? If it wasn't, why did you make that an outcome if you cannot have a sphere of influence on it?
So, being proactive first and foremost about keeping the people out of your primary sphere of influence that would not keep you on track, that would not respect your time and your priorities, that would not encourage you on your path of alignment. Okay. So I like that. So I like being proactive about your environment. That's a really good one. And I really like identifying the thing that will put a fire in your soul, that thing outside of you depends on you in a way, right? Like working towards something that is much bigger than you. I like those things.
Yeah.
So I think those are intentional. I think that requires a buttload of intentionality and discernment.
Yeah, it does. So when going back to today, when somebody thought it was a priority to them and they were blowing up my everything on something that was very minor, it put me 30 minutes behind. And so as we raise empires and we become more and more busy with making money, we have to be more intentional with our time.
I would agree.
Mhm. It's true. Does this fit my outline and my goals? What's the conversation we had earlier today? I can't do all of this. Like, let's pick 2 out of 3. I only have so many cycles. So, what's the priority?
Yeah. Which chunk are we going to consume at a time of the big elephant? The big
It is. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Hold on. That did not come from me. I'm overly credited to people that came from my good friend Julie, friend and mentor, who has seen me through very hard times. She's amazing. We need to get her on this.
Oh, we should. 100%. We should have her on Empower Her.
Actually, we're complete opposites. Complete opposites.
I love
Way
that.
more than you and I. Oh my gosh. I love her to the day I die.
I absolutely love that. You know, earlier today, I went live inside of my real estate coaching group. And today was all about accountability. And I was referencing this podcast. I was referencing Zen and Fire about ways to keep yourself accountable and the people that you should surround yourself with in order to stay on the path. And an overarching consensus that I'm coming out with is really being intentional with the people that you surround yourself with, and almost surround yourself with do this with someone or with people that almost piss you off a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I love that. Like,
Just
literally, no, I love that. So I have to tell you.
yeah.
So there are 2 phrases that have literally changed my life. So I remember hashtag victim mode, been there, done that. It was a friend of mine and I was still living in Florida. And I feel like I love her for this because it was life-changing. And her name was Carrie. And she's like, what are you going to do about it? And I was like, that was a hold my beer moment, right? And then I have Julie who's like, what's the worst that could happen? What are you going to do about it? And what's the worst that could happen? And so when I dove deep on those, I was like, it's actually not that bad. Let's go forth and conquer.
You know? And it sounds like you're surrounding yourself with people that don't let you play small.
No. And this was when I was small. And I don't think they really, I know Carrie doesn't understand how much she elevated my life. But Julie, like, we're still to this day, like, when I was going through the worst times of my life, she flew out here and, like, rearranged my whole house, like, did all the things, right? So who shows up for you when you ask those hard questions?
And who shows up for you by asking those hard questions? Those are the people to do this with, to grow with.
How many hard questions have I asked you? And I didn't feel bad about it.
You shouldn't. You should be completely fucking unapologetic about that shit, honestly.
I am 100%.
Right.
Yeah. Can I tell you, like, I sit back and I look on the faux and then the real, and I'm like, the hardest times of my life, who showed up? And so I feel like, again, it's Julie and it's you. Good, bad, ugly, like all the things. So having that, like, I always tell my kids, I'm like, look for 4 quarters, not 100 pennies.
Quality, baby. Absolute quality. So, what I am understanding as we are putting this whole picture together, it
Mhm.
is not any tactical thing, any little tactical thing in the moment. It's more like number one, elevating your mindset,
100%.
surrounding yourself with people that will not let you play small, that will piss you off a little bit, that will challenge you, and that will also encourage you to get out of the same mindset that you're currently at so that you can grow. You've got to become that different version of you. Because the
Well,
same version of you that's, let's just say in the $500,000 price bracket or income bracket
mhm.
is not the version of you that it's going to take in order to make $1 million.
So there's a couple of
So,
things. You are correct. Be careful who you surround yourself with, but there are some tactical things that you can do.
like what?
So I will tell you, you and I are about to do a leadership retreat. However, we have multiple businesses that we need to unpack, and we're doing all the things, right? But for me, I literally plan out my day to day. What do I need to achieve today? If something today, this week, this quarter, it's really important that people focus on that. I'm going to be real honest. Does it align to what I need to do? So I know you and I talk constantly, all the things, right? Um, so I already know. I'm like, hey, I have these ideas. You're like, hey, I have this ideas. We're about to go on a leadership retreat, which next time, that's where we're going to be going from. But you have to figure out your strategic, like, what do you want to accomplish? And then what are the tacticals of that? I feel, and then you need balance of people who are around you. So I'm going to give you a good example. Cynthia keeps me very honed of how much is your time worth? Could you pay somebody else to do this? So I've done an average of how much my time is worth. Currently, it's at about $750 an hour. As you scale, it'll get more. So, for me to do some of these things, I love to go deep in the weeds. The proof is not in the pudding, and she keeps me very level headed about it. We can pay somebody else X number of dollars to do this. I'm like, thank you for that. I also know that I have outcomes and goals, and so I do old school paper. Look at this, and they ask me, "What do you want to do this quarter? What do you want to do this week? What do you want to do this day?" If you're not meeting those, then you're not doing what you need to do.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to come on here and talk about this subject because as I am sitting down to put the accountability partners in my life, the people that encourage me, the people that challenge me, the people that won't let me play small, the people are the things and the tools that will keep me focused so that I can grow daily.
Mm-hmm.
And it struck me when I was posed with the question, what will you do to ensure that your resistance does not overpower your will?
Mm-hmm.
And I was absolutely freaking stumped.
Sand
So,
will consume your life over big rocks.
mm,
It's true.
mm,
Sand, all these little tiny things. That's why ruthless prioritization that I talked to you about, like, hey, I can spend all day doing my laundry or talking to my neighbor or whatever else, like floating around like a fart in a hurricane. Roy Kieferism. However, I can pay somebody $100. My time is worth $750. I can pay somebody else $100 to go off and do my laundry. Oh, my kids, by the way, they're still doing their laundry. That shit will sit out there and the whole thing until they get it done. But you're absolutely right. And what can you delegate to achieve your goal? What is worth your time? Because a lot of times, hey, what does a 20-minute conversation with your neighbor cost you? If you're thinking in terms of being an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, like you need to think about these things. Every single second of your day is important.
I would totally agree. And to summarize that in my mind, I would say spend my time becoming the person I need to become in order to naturally do the things that it takes to achieve that outcome. And it comes with constant discernment and the constant question, is this in alignment? Right? Am I becoming this person necessary by doing this, by hanging out with this person, by all of these things, by hanging out with the people that will enable me to remain comfortable?
No, gosh, that's a whole nother podcast. I gotta tell you, the comfort, the toxicity, and like I can't even, but like I gotta tell you, I have quarterly goals that I need to achieve, and then I have monthly goals I have to achieve, and then weekly goals I have to achieve. And it might be like they're very specific and they're very tangible, so I can measure my success. I'm going to be real honest. Like I put my weekly goals on here. I know people were like zooming in, right? But some of them during the part of the week, I need to pay attention to the household because I'm still a mom at the end of the day. But at the end of it, like we have a leadership offsite coming off, right? Like, so I'm like, hey, I'm not, and I do set boundaries with my family. Like, hey, from this time to this time, I need to focus on this.
What's important?
Mm-hmm.
When I coach my agents in relationship to that, when I coach my agents and we go over their ideal schedule, I encourage them, print this out, put it on your refrigerator so that your spouse knows when you're dedicating time to areas of your business and not to schedule things during those times, you know?
So women are subject to a different differential than men, right? So we're going to talk about unfair feminism a little bit later. However, I will tell you, I've communicated several times to my husband, hey, I have a Pilates class at 5:30 in the morning. And he's like, oh, I forgot, right? Weaponizing incompetence. So you know what I did? Hashtag petty. I took a dry erase marker, put that shit on his side of the bathroom. This is my schedule for the week. If you don't see it, then I'm going to put you on disability.
Wow.
I don't like victims. We're not allowed to have victims in our life, right? And we're not allowed to have people who don't accept responsibility. It's a fact.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that shit. But seriously, like when we are tangent hashtag Kiki on my horse. No, like they set the rules. They set the rules of, hey, you need to be empowered. And we were empowered. But they didn't think through the whole concept of being empowered. They didn't teach men how to do basic things around the house and cater to children. Some can do it. I'm not lumping everybody in a hole. However, most cannot. Actually, I got to tell you, Cynthia, as we look at our dating life, my dating life before I met my second husband, that's right, I said second husband, #2. I need somebody who's bring me my peace. You make $32,000 a year. I don't need to bring you peace. I mean, what's happening here? Right? So, anyways, #don't let dick defer you from your goals. The dick is found everywhere.
I thought you liked the word cock better.
I'm sorry. Good cock is found. No, well, wiener cock. I'm actually open to anything. Because here's the thing: when I'm driving. So, by the way, y'all, if y'all didn't give it away, we're from Texas, okay? And the drivers, we have a lot of transplants coming here, and so I need y'all to understand, the far left lane is for rage. We have ticket money, all the things. So don't do that. Stay in the far right lane. But yeah, hold on. Oh God, this is our pre-show stuff, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, when I'm super horny, I'll be down for hey, show me your cock. But when I'm in traffic, I'm like, you dickhole. I'm gonna do not when my kids are in the car. When my kids are not in the car, I'm trying to elevate myself, listen to my podcast or listen to my Audible or whatever it is, and I'm like, you dickhole. And my husband's like, what's a dickhole? I'm like, it's called your urethra, and it's the most I hope a most aggressive thing goes through your urethra. That's how aggravated I am right now.
Well, it sounds like you're a little bangry, and you might need to go take care of that. So
Angry's a real thing,
right? So why don't we go ahead and conclude tonight's episode? Thank you so much for providing some really great tactics. I know I just wrote down the 3 things that are going to keep me focused so that my resistance does not overpower my will. And I know that on a daily basis, every moment, every day, I am focused on becoming the person. So thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure once again to be able to learn and grow with you. And I just hope that our listeners tonight also pick up a few things, not just dick or cock or balls or what have you.
Oh no, that was the last. Hey, the oh my gosh,
that could be encouraging too. No, but I'm just saying,
right? Hey, come on. Our poor producer's cringing in the corner, but that's okay.
Actually, he's like, oh yeah,
I know
a whole bunch of things that I get to bleep out for absolute greatness.
Yes. So the point of anything is have a purpose or goal. You can call it whatever you want. We like purpose, outcomes, right? Go listen to the last podcast. But in order to achieve those, you do have to be disciplined, and there's not a lot of room for error. So Cynthia and I, we have multiple businesses. So the more you scale, the more you make money. No problems, more money. The more you scale, you have to find somebody who can be your lieutenant. But then at the same time, you have to find people you have to be very discerning with your time. So is this emergency warranted? Does it need my attention? So figuring out what is worth your time and attention versus what's not is true.
Mm. Thank you so much for closing us out tonight with that amazing piece of wisdom that we are going to go back and apply. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Move it, move it. Groove it, groove it. The one I know.